Hello everyone and welcome to this live stream here at Zurich Airport. We are live from Dock E, the observations deck, and we will broadcast the early afternoon rush hour from here. It has already started. We have several aircraft taxiing to the runways. The smaller aircraft going to runway 28, and there's an Airbus A330 waiting on runway 16, and also an Edelweiss A340 is taxiing to runway 16. So we are right in the middle of the action. That was an Helvetic Embraer, and now a Swiss A330 will be departing on runway 16. As you can see, we are quite lucky today with the weather. Clear skies, more or less at least. There are a few clouds appearing from the west, but we can still see the Alps. So we have quite a great view from here. And we're just checking which one is next. There's an Helvetic Embraer waiting on runway 28 and an Edelweiss A340 on runway 16. Let's see who's first. Well, the A340 has to wait for a few minutes because there's inbound traffic on runway 14, so I guess the next one will be an A321neo as it looks, also departing on runway 28. And here we have a special one from Egypt. This is the Egypt Air flight, I guess, huh? Looks like it is an airline I've never seen before, to be honest, but it looks quite nice.
Now the Edelweiss A340 is departing, you will see it in a few seconds.
Well, we are still wondering about the 737 that just arrived. I've never seen this airline here in Zurich apparently, but for sure it's from Egypt. It looks quite cool, so glad to see it. And in the meantime, you could see the Edelweiss A340 with a very shallow climb out of runway 16. As you know, the A340 is not the most powerful aircraft in terms of takeoff performance, so it climbs out very slowly usually. And there are two more A340s expected to depart in this afternoon rush hour. One of Edelweiss and one of Swiss. And this will be in about 1 hour from now. Maybe a bit sooner, depending on how punctual the flights are getting out. So if I look to the beginning of runway 28, I see 4 aircraft lined up for departure. Looks like some business jets, then an A320 of Swiss, an A220, and then a Helvetic Embraer 190. So the rush hour is now going full steam ahead, with the Swiss European flights departing first, and then in the second half, so to say, we will see the long-haul flights departing, and that's when the things are getting really exciting. So we see we have already a few people watching. Welcome to this live stream. If you enjoy what you see, don't forget to like and subscribe, of course. And if you have more AV geeks around the world, don't hesitate to share the stream such that more people can join. We're just at the beginning. The real cool action is about to get started, so it's worth it to join the stream today. You'll see many 777s departing, A330s, another 767 of Delta Airlines, then the Emirates A380 will arrive soon. So there's plenty to see. Alright, and it seems like the first heavy aircraft are ready for departure. We have an A330 as it looks pushing back, and also the beacon of a Boeing 777 right in front of us is flashing up, so we will see some bigger aircraft moving soon. But for now we enjoy this A320neo departing on runway 28. Seems like we have some connection issues. It could be that the stream is a bit laggy. We are working on finding a solution for that. Sorry about that as well. That wasn't planned, of course.
So the issue with the video should be fixed now. Hopefully we can confirm that the quality is fine again.
What we see in front of us is the Boeing 777 of Swiss departing to Dubai, and it looks like it will take runway 28 today, which is not that unusual, but good for us. We will see the full takeoff run of that.
zweimal schon so einen Ruckler, verstehst du?
Ja, das gleiche Problem hatte ich auch.
Aber das hat man nie gehabt. Das Handy ist auch nicht heiß. Das Einzige, erstmal, dass man die Kamera hat. Pushback, oder? Von der Dings.
That was another A220 of Swiss. Next up is a Helvetic Embraer 190, if I'm not mistaken. It's a bit difficult to judge from here. And we also see an A-Jet A321 ready for pushback. We will show you that one too. And the Swiss 777 to Dubai is taxiing now to runway 28 on taxiway, what is that, Delta I think, yep. And the Swiss flight to Montreal, which is an A330, is taxiing to runway 16 as we speak, so numerous airplanes moving right now. From my side, it wasn't an Embraer 190, there was an Embraer 195E2, and it was the very airplane that was the first Embraer 195E2 to land at London City Airport a few weeks ago. And now you can see the A-Jet A321 pushing back from the gate. And as I see, the 777 has now arrived at the beginning of runway 28, so it will depart in a few minutes as well. That was another super exciting Swiss A320, and as I see, Matt from HD Melbourne Aviation has joined the stream. Hi Matt, welcome, and I hope you enjoy it.
Yes Matt, it was really interesting, huh? This Red Sea one, I think, is one of the first times that he is coming to Zurich. Ja, weil gerade gefragt hat wegen der Red Sea. Also, was macht
It's also the first time that I see this one. Never seen it.
Yeah. In 2 minutes the Emirates A380 will land, and soon we will have a pretty nice and close taxi of it.
And now we have two heavy aircraft lined up on both runways, the 777 to Dubai and the A330 to Montreal. Let's see who's first. But it looks like it is the 777 on runway 28. Now how about that? Two heavy airplanes departing right next or right after each other. That's what we are here for today. And there's a lot more to come, and I see the A380 appearing behind the dock. It will taxi by in the next minute.
Now the Emirates A380 landed. You will see we have now a short or a close taxi bit.
rather interesting. Usually the A380 will taxi the outer taxiway, but this time it has taken the one closer to the dock. I see a car of apron control, so I assume this was under supervision. But yeah, it is as it is. So if I look down, I see two A220s of Swiss waiting for takeoff, an Edelweiss A220 as well, and the AJet A321. And there are two heavy airplanes waiting for takeoff at runway 162, so the action won't stop during the next minutes.
Alright, the next one is the Edelweiss A320 departing on runway 28, and it looks like next Swiss heavies are ready as well.
now on runway 16, the next Airbus A330 of Swiss. Now that looked pretty nice, an A330 departing while another one is taxiing right in front. And that was quite the cool banking he was doing after taking off. It looks like the next 777 is also departing. So that was a 777 of Swiss departing to Tokyo. And down at the runway I quickly pan it a bit over so that you can see it too. We have an A-Jet A321 which is departing, followed by a Helvetic Embraer 190. 777. As taxi by, let's have a quick outlook on what's going to happen within the next 30 to 40 minutes. That's a 777 to Miami, by the way. Swiss 64, right? Or 65? Not sure. That's Swiss 64, yeah, of course. We have multiple other 777s departing of Swiss and Air Canada, Boeing 777-200LR, Thai Airways 777-300ER, Cathay Pacific with an A350, Swiss and Edelweiss with A340, Delta Airlines with a 767-400ER to New York. And then a bit later we have the Edelweiss A350 departing to Faro, but this will take another 2 hours. And then hopefully we will be able to show you the Emirates A380 departing. This, however, depends on whether he's on time or not, but fingers crossed. So I see we have a few people watching. Welcome to this live stream. If you haven't already, make sure to like this stream. If you enjoy what you're seeing, also subscribe. While you're seeing this A320 of Edelweiss departing on runway 16. We see another 777 that has been pushed back from the gate. In the meantime, an A330 of Swiss has lined up on runway 16 and will depart in the next minutes. Better say right now. Kurz hier auf den Cathay Pacific runter. Immer kurz auf den Cathay runter, kann ich kurz zeigen, dass der So, and as you can see, the Cathay Pacific A350 has closed the doors and is ready for departure. Pushback truck is not, yeah, it is attached, but not yet fully ready. So this one will move soon as well. And in the meantime, we have another Swiss 777 taxiing. Well, Matt, sorry to disappoint you, but the A380 will depart in 2 hours earliest. And given the opening hours of this terrace, we will be lucky to see it. So. Watching Let us know in the comments. It's a quite common airplane, so I assume a few of you have already. And also tell us on which route. Mine was Zurich, San Francisco and Los Angeles to Zurich. And also Zurich, Geneva.
Yeah?
Yep. It was back in the days when they had the Swiss face livery.
Our flight back from Dubai in October was 007.
Emirates, I guess.
Emirates, yeah.
Emirates, very nice.
Towards Dubai and the reward flight with the 007. And
Cool.
2017 to Singapore with a Swiss 007. Not with Singapore Airlines.
Nice. I quickly move over here because... How do you zoom here? Here we have an Embraer 135 for some people who have a little bit more money than we do. And meanwhile the 777 is departing.
See the 007 Air Canada pushback. Hopefully in the right direction. Let's see which.
So, and Air Canada is usually a candidate for runway 28. Let's see what it does today. Okay, they're pushing it out
In the right direction.
on taxiway Bravo.
Yes.
And he goes to 8, as expected. 777-200LR, which is quite interesting for a route across the Atlantic, because that thing can fly way further than Zurich-Toronto. And lined up on runway 28 is an Air Baltic A220. Which will be next, most likely. Have you ever flown on the A220 of Air Baltic already? No. I had the pleasure one month ago. It was actually quite nice. And now it departs.
I think in 30 minutes or 50 minutes we'll also see the Sea Airlines will take off again. Because people are just going into it.
I just observed that the passengers had to wait for like 5 minutes in the gangway. Didn't let them in, but okay. Why we love the 777, do we? A350 seems to be ready for pushback. The beacon light is on, so... So we will see a close-up pushback scene of an A350. How about that?
Hoffentlich steht sie denn auch so rum. Oder so geht. Aber schon, wenn es so nah ist, und sie so rausdrehen.
And in case I labeled this private jet we've seen a few minutes ago as an Embraer 195, that's of course totally wrong. It's an Embraer 135. At least based on the Embraer 135. The private jet variant has a different labeling. But
I will see the Cathay Pacific A350 pushback. Stell dir die richtige Richtung aus. Ah, der geht auf die Hand, ey. Ich hab gehofft, der dreht in die andere Richtung, auf die 28 geht. Ganz gut. So Cathay Pacific is ready, Air Canada is taxiing, we have still Thai Airways and Delta Airlines missing, but they will depart soon as well. And until then we'll see a Swiss A330 departing right after the 777 which has just taken off. gerade fertig. Das Wasser spritzen will. Ein bisschen dort. Muss er hin? Schade, war das ein 2. Mal gerade.
While we're seeing this Cathay A350 getting ready for taxi, which is the case right now, you may tell us in the comments whether you are Club A350 or Club Boeing 777. Which one do you prefer? So, while the Red Sea 737 is boarding, we are still waiting for the Air Canada 777 to depart on runway 28. And as I see, Delta Airlines is appearing. The Boeing 767-400ER, and it will taxi close by. That's pretty nice. Now let's enjoy some classic engine sound here.
noch viele things auf die Abflugzeit stehen.
And if you're asking yourself what this A340 is doing here, I'm asking myself the same question. I expected it to taxi to runway 16, but that's the totally opposite direction. Was ist denn hier? Let's quickly check up on that. Ich penne sonst kurz weiter.
Ja, ist doch Shanghai.
In Italien ist es auch gepusht.
And it is the flight to Shanghai. If that thing departs on runway 28, that would be quite a stunner, to be honest, because that's super rare. Oh, come on, there's no way that this one goes out on runway 28. But it seems like reality shows that there is a way that this could happen. And speaking of A340, the Edelweiss A340 is appearing as well. Very...
Pushback.
Yeah. Okay.
777 macht Pushback.
And another 777 pushing back. Hotel Bravo, Juliet, November Hotel. And I see the Swiss A340 has retracted the flaps. That's not a good sign. Okay, let's see what happens to that airplane, but retracting flaps on the way to a departure runway, that doesn't look usual, to be honest. Meanwhile, we have the Edelweiss A340 taxiing. But first, let's see this A320 of Swift.
Aufnehmen ins Bild.
Ja. Der 50er startet ja von Cathay.
Ja, braucht erstmal das Taxi von 40.
Ja.
Sagt Bescheid.
So, and here is the Edelweiss A340. And on the runway, following the A320, which has just taken off, is the Cathay A350.
Nee, die ist abgebogen. Cathay kann jetzt starten.
Cathay, ja. Ja, das wird da sein.
Turkish A321 taxiing by. Next for departure is Delta Airlines with a 767-400ER. And second in line is Thai Airways with a Boeing 777. And the Edelweiss A340 is third in line.
I just was zuerst. Der Pushback soll kurz warten, bis der weg ist. Edelweiss rot. Auch noch wegen auf die andere Piste. So will der Push wieder nach hinten. Ach schade. Aber ja.
So, and thanks to the Earth curvature, also this AC4 we learned to fly. And in the meantime, we see the Red Sea 737 pushing back. And for us, unfortunately, it looks like it takes runway 16. From our position, runway 28 would have been better, but well, it is what it is. So it looks like there is one more heavy departure, which is a Boeing 777 of Swift, which is now lined up on runway 16. And then things will quiet down a bit. Yes, Iceland Air 737 MAX, which will depart as well within the next 15 to 20 minutes, I guess. And then of course the Red Sea 737. Well, and while this Red Sea 737 is taxiing to the runway, we have Qatar Airways with the A350 on short final. Unfortunately, they parked this airplane on the other side of the terminal, so we have to be a bit lucky if we want to see it taxiing by, but we'll let us surprise in that case.
Jetzt passiert immer viel unterwegs. Das Blöde, ne? Der Mittagsrasch ist gut, oder ne?
Aber vielleicht gehen wir später noch.
Für Freitag.
Mal schauen, wie ich es mit Emirates mache. Oder wollen wir noch mal rechtzeitig rübergehen auf das in Deutschland?
Das ist alles extrem Stunden, aber auch weitermachen. Gucken wir, dass wir jetzt in der A350 hier machen und dann Emirates sehen dann. Ich glaube, so gleich.
I just heard on ATC the Red Sea 737 will depart in about 7 minutes from now, because ATC has to coordinate the departures with the arrivals.
Deshalb steht auf der 330er so lange. Da steht ja schon ewig da. 330er, da steht ganz schon. Nein, das ist einfach okay. Ja, das steht schon so lange. Das ist
Mr. still waiting for that 777 departing, which is currently standing on the threshold of runway 16, but it has to wait because there's inbound traffic.
Jetzt.
But now it has gotten takeoff clearance, so let's see that bird departing. Should be visible on your screen in about 30-ish seconds.
Der Berg kommt jetzt auch mal noch besser raus. Ne?
Maybe you can now zoom out a bit so that you can see the entire apron, because I want to show you something. As you can see, it's empty. We have Iceland Air 737, which is on dock A, which will depart soon, but other than that we have to be a bit patient now, but that has an advantage. We can show you every airplane during taxiing, lineup and departure.
Red Sea.
Das ist ja nicht mal hin.
Die startet erst am 4. Das ist ein 86.
Das ist ja nicht mal hin.
Next one we will show you is the Red Sea 737. I hope it doesn't rotate too early such that we can see it lifting off. Because 737 isn't the biggest airplane and they tend to rotate a bit earlier on 1.6. And from our position it could be that this could be a bit too early, but we will see. On the other hand, the 737 usually departs a bit more shallow than in a more shallow angle than the A320, so maybe we're lucky. And unfortunately the Qatar A350 has really been taxiing on the other side of the building, so we won't be able to show you that one. But if I pan over a bit, I can show you another A350. Of Ethiopian Airlines, which is parked over there. It has landed today in the morning from Milan and will depart today in the evening also to Milan. Does a short stop there and then continues to Addis. So the Red Sea 737 is lining up and will depart within the next minutes, depending on the inbound traffic, but we will see.
Wenn den Zuschauer Bergeraten spielen. Von links hinten anfangen.
Ich kenne sie ja nicht mal selber.
Also links denken wir.
Kurfürsten, oder?
Also erstmal ist ja der Sentis der größte von denen. Dann hinten dran wahrscheinlich die Kurfürsten in Tockenburg.
Den Titlis kennt ich wahrscheinlich auch, aber den sieht man nicht so gut.
Titlis? Naja, Engelberg, ja.
I just had a look at the approach sector. It looks clear. The Red Sea 737 should receive takeoff clearance momentarily. Or better say, right now. So you'll see it very soon. And I was worried about an early rotation of that one. That was a very, very flat takeoff for a 737. And also a very long takeoff run. Crossed the runway intersection and went even further down. So that thing is heavily loaded, that's for sure. So, what else do we have here? We have an Icelandair 737 MAX. We have a Swiss A320, super exciting. We have a Turkish Airlines A321 and an Air Serbia A319, if I'm not mistaken. A bit difficult to see from here. But yes. From here I can show you something actually. You can see here Zurich Airport Tower with the 2 floors. On the upper floor you have air traffic control directing takeoff and landings and runway crossings depending on which runway. And on the lower floor you have apron control. And if I pan a little bit further to the left, if you look very closely, I can zoom in a bit, you see Zurich Airport's very first tower, which was opened in, correct me if I'm wrong, 1952. When this airport started to get in operation back then.
Da hinten?
Yep, genau. And it's still there. And actually, you can rent it for parties, for marriages or whatever. So it's an event location now. So if you are looking for an exciting place for a party or whatever, that's the place to be, if you are an F-geek like me, or us. And as always at Zurich Airport, there's construction going on, as you can see. And if I zoom out, you can see now Dock A. This will be a huge construction site for the next 10 years, because this dock is planned to be replaced by a new building. So we will have a new tower, a new dock of course, and also the entire apron will change quite a bit. So in 10 years that will look completely different compared to now. And also the airport has changed quite a bit. Last year those parking stands over there were not open yet. And also at this position there was the old spotter platform with the helicopter fast food restaurant, and we missed this quite a lot.
Heli.
Yeah, the so-called heli grill, exactly. Was a great location for afternoon departures with the sun in the back, but now this location does not exist anymore, which is a very big pity for us, but it is what it is. So we see Hans Olaf is watching the stream for now quite some time, and thank you very much for the thumb up, highly appreciate it. And also Pierrido is watching. He was with us earlier today. Great that you joined the session before, and also thank you for joining here. So, for this afternoon we have one big highlight, which is the Edelweiss A350 departing to Portugal. It will most likely depart on runway 28 right in front of us, with a hopefully early rotation, such that we get a quite spectacular scene here. But this will take another at least 45 minutes, unfortunately, so we have to be a bit patient. And hopefully this Icelandair 737 MAX will move very soon. Oh. And in the meantime, let's also enjoy the smaller stuff, like a business jet, which will depart on runway 28 momentarily. That's what I call a quick departure. Well, and now you see the downside of spotting at Zurich Airport. You have a very busy early afternoon rush hour, and after that absolutely nothing happens pretty much until the two airplanes you see over there and those two are moving, but in the meantime it is a bit quiet. But we have somehow to overcome this rather calm time period now. I quickly checked out the other side of the terminal, there is an Egypt Air 737 which is getting ready for departure, so hopefully we will see that as well. And also, unfortunately, I've seen that the Shanghai flight, an Airbus A340 of Swiss, has returned to the gate. We would have loved to see that departing, and my gut feeling was not wrong that when it taxied by towards runway 28 that this is a bit unusual, so... And believe it or not, there's an airplane moving. It is the Iceland Air 737 MAX. .737 MAX. I prefer the 757 by far, but well, those times are over very soon. They have a few 757s still in service, but they phased out the 757-300, which I absolutely loved. Such an elegant aircraft. And I'm very lucky to have catched it like 8 months before here on Dock E. Simply a gorgeous airplane. But well, now we have the 737 MAX with the new livery, which has an advantage that there is a color scheme on there. Like today it is the blue one, but they also have yellow, pink and green, I think. It's the daily flight to Reykjavik in Iceland. Although during earlier years we already had 2 daily flights to Iceland with Iceland Air, and both were operated by 757s and sometimes even by 767s. So capacity-wise that's quite a downgrade. But therefore we have Edelweiss also flying to Iceland in the meantime, so I guess they complement each other in some ways. Oh my god, a moving airplane, which is a Lufthansa A320 or A319? No, it's an A319, huh? Most likely from Frankfurt, if I have the schedule correctly in mind. I've flown the route Zurich, Frankfurt and back numerous times, and also on the A319. Always when it was on Lufthansa it was an A319. With Swiss I had quite a good mix, A220, A321 and also A321neo. Okay. And there he goes, parking position on Dock A. And a little bit further to the right we have Iceland Air, which is now taxiing to runway 28 as it looks. we have some people watching. Welcome to this live stream here at Zurich Airport on Dock E on this beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon. And we are waiting for some airplanes to depart. Next one, as it looks, is an Icelandair Boeing 737 MAX. If you enjoyed the live stream, make sure to hit that like button. If you like, subscribe. And also share the live stream with others when you think that this stream should be shared with other people enjoying aviation and airplanes taking off and landing. So, well, this Icelandair is taxiing. We have two airplanes which have landed, an Air Baltic A220 and a Swiss A320. And there is a small private jet lining up on runway 28. Alright, that was very nice to see the 737 MAX departing. And here is a Welling A321, which has just landed and now taxiing on taxiway Alpha to the gate. And I heard on the ATC frequency that the KLM flight is ready for pushback, so we will see this one taxiing soon to runway 28 and then departing to Amsterdam. Looks like this Welling is going on to the other side of Terminal A.
Delivery to be 56 Delta, good day, stand at control 6, because planet is started again.
Delta 56 Delta, return, please contact Asia and coordinate with them 121.855, goodbye.
121.855, goodbye, Serbia 56 Delta.
And Air Serbia is ready as well, so we'll see multiple airplanes departing soon. That's very nice. And as I see, we have some new people who have joined the live stream. Also welcome to you. We are here on Dock E at Zurich Airport on this sunny Saturday afternoon. And we are waiting for airplanes departing and arriving. It's just past the early afternoon rush hour, so things have quieted down a bit, but we have a few airplanes which are ready for takeoff and we will show you them. They will take off right in front of us here on runway 28, so they will lift off right in front of our nose pretty much, which is quite cool. The Air Serbia airplane, which I have shown you, which we have heard before, is right over there. So I guess we just keep this one a bit on our views, even though it's a bit far away. Sometimes it actually parks a bit closer to our position, but unfortunately today it's not the case. So, but what shall we do? In the meantime, make sure you like this live stream if you enjoy what you're seeing. Also subscribe to the channel and share this stream with other people, such that they can enjoy the joy of aviation. Because aviation is exciting, it is great, always cool to observe, so more people should enjoy it, definitely. And soon we are also expecting this Turkish Airlines A321, which you can see a little bit now on the bottom right corner of the screen. Also in Egypt there's 737. And if I pan over to Dock A, we have also a few airplanes over there. A Lufthansa A319, two Swiss A320s and an Air Baltic A220. They all have arrived like 15 minutes ago and will depart in about 20 minutes again, maybe 25 depending on how quick the turnaround is. And then in about 25 minutes time we have an Edelweiss A350 departing. That's of course the thing we are waiting for right now. And we are hoping for a very nice departure on runway 28. Edelweiss has taken over the A350 quite recently. You may have seen it in other videos and on news reports. And it's currently flying to European destinations. Today in the afternoon it's going to Faro in Portugal. That means it's going to be rather light for an A350. That's why we'll take the shorter runway 28 here. And we hope for a yet powerful departure with a short takeoff run and a steep climb out. That would be pretty nice. And then just landed, and now soon to cross runway 28 is a Chair Airlines Airbus A319. And speaking of Airbus A319, the Air Serbia is now pushing back, as I see. And the wind is picking up a bit right now, but not a big issue. Let's see, yeah, that looks like he's turning for runway 28 as expected.
Alles in Ausstecken und in das Stativ oder mal so.
So, and while this Air Serbia is getting ready, we have heard on ATC that an Edelweiss A320 is also ready for departure. I don't know the runway, but we will see. Hopefully runway 28, that would be pretty nice. Where's the KLM airplane? This should have been pushed back in a while ago. But since I quickly pan over, this Chair Airlines A319 is waiting there. I assume that the KLM flight is blocking the alley between Dock A and Dock B. There's only one taxiway, and if it is blocked, other airplanes can't taxi in, of course. Genau.
Doch schon, aber ich drücke nochmal nicht. Ich war mal zu fest gedrückt. Als ob ich ein Foto machen würde und dann mal die Anzeige. Aber wenn ich leicht drücke, dann geht es auch Fotos. Automatisch. Aber wenn ich klicke, dann ist es schlecht.
Now the KLM is appearing behind there. And it is an Embraer as it looks. An Embraer 175 or 70? No, 75.
Jemand hat im Chat geschrieben, ob ich den Spook.
Got it?
Ja.
Okay.
Das ist schon länger her.
Doch, da oben, das siehst
So, runway 28 aviation. Of course, we will film the KLM flight. Also during this departure, obviously. Now you can see it here on screen doing pushback. And now the Chair Airlines A319 can taxi to the stand, since the way is free. And I quickly pan over because we have another one which has just arrived. It's an Edelweiss A320 with the new livery. Now crossing runway 28. In a few minutes we will see an A320 of Edelweiss again, but in the old livery, and then you can tell us which livery you prefer. So, and here we have the Air Serbia A319 taxiing to runway 28. Quickly pan over to Dock A to have a look at those 4 airplanes parked over there. With the tower and the mountains in the background, which looks pretty nice in my opinion, but of course it would be even better if there would be some airplanes taking off. And this will be the case momentarily because Air Serbia has just announced an ATC that they are ready for takeoff. So I give it around 1 to 2 minutes and then it will depart. Now taxiing in front of those 4 is a Swiss A220-300 as it looks. Just landed and is taxiing to the gate. That looks quite scenic with the mountains in the background. Fortunately the sky is getting a bit cloudy now, but it's still good.
Dafür sind die Berge jetzt klarer geworden wie vorher.
Ja. Here you have the KLM flight to Amsterdam. The shorter Embraer series, Embraer 170. 70 or 75, I'm not sure right now. Whatever. Embraer 175. Sometimes a bit hard to distinguish.
Das sind 47. Das wäre 15:30 Uhr geplant. 15:30 Uhr wäre geplant. Ja. Aber er war schon auf Radar.
Shanghai, also Shanghai 48 ist auch wieder zurück. Ne?
Serbia.
That was the Air Serbia flight to Belgrade, and yeah, that's how it looks when an airplane departs on runway 28 from this position. And we wish it would be a bit more often, but in these hours it's a bit more quiet, so we just have to enjoy what we get. Next one is a KLM Embraer 175 to Amsterdam, which is now lining up and on ATC is receiving takeoff clearance, so let's take a look.
Der Akku bleibt immer gleich, hier wird nicht weniger, hier wird nicht mehr.
Well, we're not very lucky at the moment. There was a Pegasus A321neo arriving, but unfortunately they've parked it at the very other end of the terminal. Over there it is, with the orange tail fin. I mean, it's not the case that right next to us there's any free parking position, but yeah.
Ein Balken,
Musst du alles finden.
ja,
Just,
ein Balken ist weniger geworden vom Alkohol zum Strom.
So, and here we have an Air Baltic A322 220-300. Oh, now I got it. Just landed and now crossing runway 28.
Ich glaube, ich muss kurz den Akku wechseln. Obwohl es am Strom war, ist ein Balken weniger.
It seems like this A220 does not park right next to the 4 airplanes you see over there on dock A. It goes to the other side. So it would have been kind of nice to have 2 Air Baltic A220s right next to each other, and then 2 Swiss A320s. Okay, there was a quick disruption in the stream, sorry about that. But now it should work normally again. We will have to change the... you have to change the battery, right? Change the battery of the camera, so we will have to interrupt in a few minutes. But just for a few seconds, so then we will be back. But until then, we just continue observing what's happening. At the moment it's very much, as you see. And if I'm not mistaken, there's an A320 pushing back from the gate. Lufthansa and Swiss, the two, so the mother and the sister company, right in one frame. Now you can also see the difference between the A319 and the A320 quite well. The A319 a bit shorter, and the older generations have only one emergency exit above the wings, and the A320 has 2 of them. And that's a longer fuselage, of course. And to make the A320 family complete, I quickly pan to the left, where we have a Swiss A321 with winglets. Just landed and about to cross runway 28. The A321, of course, again, longer fuselage and a different arrangement of the doors.
Ganz klein.
Ich glaube, ich filme ihn trotzdem schnell, wenn du nichts gegen hast. So now we have something super exciting for you. We have a VFR flight departing. Zurich Airport, despite being quite a big international airport, has quite a good amount of smaller one-engined airplanes here. And one of them is just departing. And hopefully not so steep, because otherwise it will disappear behind the roof. It's fighting a bit against the wind gusts here. Yeah, now it's flattened down. Looks like that's the Motorfluggruppe Zürich. And he's taking the VFR departure route. The A321 parks right next to the Air Baltic A220. No, not right next to it. There's one stand kept empty. Meanwhile, this Swiss A320 is taxiing to the runway. And I'm asking myself where the Edelweiss A320 is, which has announced to be ready for takeoff like 15 minutes ago. Looks like there's another private jet departing on runway 28. It's already received takeoff clearance. Yeah, during these hours we have to take everything we get.
Jetzt haben wir das hier eingestellt. Es soll schneller laden als die Powerbank. Ansonsten finde ich reichen es. Aber ich wechsle trotzdem vorsichtshalber vom A350 an Emirates nochmal. Nicht, dass wir während er startet.
So, let's see how quickly that airplane gets airborne. It's a very small one, so... Yeah, that's very quickly. And off it goes.
Hast du hier irgendwas verteilt, weil du hier auf minus 1 gekommen bist?
Nein.
Siehst du doch mit minus 1. Das ist von der Hecke
Guck mal, der
schlechter.
bringt stark nach oben. Here we have a red-nosed British Airways A320 arriving. Maybe he has borrowed a nose from Edelweiss there during maintenance, I don't know, but looks rather interesting or funny. would have been nice to have the other airplanes which have arrived to have parked at these positions as well, or the one right next to us, but it is what it is.
Ja, aber wahrscheinlich ist die ganze auf -1. Die Helligkeit. Okay. Komisch.
So, and we have an A320 of Swiss taking off. Alright guys, we use this break which is happening right now to change the batteries of the camera. We will be right back.
Jetzt gucken gerade in
Sagst, wenn ich weitermachen kann, gell? So, we are back and right on time for this Turkish Airlines A320, one pushing back from the gate. And we'll depart on runway 28 as it looks. Okay, let's have a closer look on how they are disconnecting the tuck. look at the people doing their work. Taking the pin out to give free the nose wheel steering for the pilots again.
Wow, 53.
So now he has moved the tug out of the way. He'll get out again and give a sign to the pilot that everything is done and he's ready to go. And in the meantime, you see in the background an Air France A319 arriving from Paris, and we see that the A340, which was scheduled to Shanghai, is being pushed back again. So maybe they are giving it another try and we will see it departing. Let's hope for the best. Wow. All of a sudden it's some kind of busy. And here we have a Top Air Portugal A320 Neo. Just landed and will cross runway 28 momentarily.
Emirates in 7 Minuten.
Das wird reichen.
Ja, aber wenn er so 10 Minuten warten muss auf dem Runway 16, weil auf 14 zu viel lang.
Warten wir mal ab. Top Portugal has landed and Turkish Airlines is taxiing. Okay.
Aber J in das Edelweiss raus, ne?
So the user Brokener is asking whether we have seen Hotel Bravo Juliet November Echo. If we have seen it today, then we have certainly seen it departing, yes, earlier. During the early afternoon rush hour. We just double checked the 777 we have just mentioned is scheduled for Hong Kong, so we have not seen that one actually, because the Hong Kong flight is leaving in the late evening. And I just observed this A340 to Shanghai, and it looks like the slats and flaps are deployed and it's taxiing. So we will see an A340 departure if we're lucky. That's very nice. And even better would be if it taxis close by. There you have it on screen. And it does, very good.
Aufnahmen mit OBS. Die Aufnahme.
Okay.
Ich habe eine Aufnahme vom 340er gemacht.
So it's really happening. We will see another A340 departing. And in the meantime, Lufthansa A319 taxiing to runway 28. And there is an Edelweiss A320 taxiing to the gate. And this Air Baltic A220 has also been pushed back and looks like it will depart on runway 16, just given the fact that he's facing to the west. So we will see.
Ist sie gerade gelandet?
So next one will be the Lufthansa A319.
Ist die Kleine gelandet? Oder kommt er auf die Stadt?
Ah, da kommt
Er ist
das
gelandet,
auch.
oder?
Guck mal, viele Berge aussehen am Hintergrund.
Ja, ist gerade im Center, sind sie gerade ganz cool.
Swiss A340 is lining up and the approach sector looks clear, so the chances are good that we see it depart in a few moments.
Ganz schön Clearance bekommen jetzt.
Yeah. Has just received takeoff clearance, so
Macht Emirates da.
the APU.
Ich dachte, die früher raus, oder früher, die kommen bis 10 Uhr noch zu früher raus. Jetzt sind wir andere 5. Dann ist das halt hier vorne. Das wäre schön. This is now the A340 to Shanghai. Which they planned before, and they had to go back to the gate.
How slow do you want to climb? This A340 says yes to that question. That was a very flat climb out. And now we are lucky, we have a Swiss 777 which is arriving from San Francisco, and it looks like it will park right next to us, or in front of us better say. Let's see where exactly. Okay. Was ist das Wi-Fi?
Vielleicht stellen Sie dahin, gleich next.
So, and while this 777 has arrived, another one is landing as we speak, and it looks like it will park right in front of this 777. So, and the Emirates A380 is pushing back. Unfortunately, we can't see it from this position, but we will be able to show you its departure. Give it about 5 to 10 minutes from now. So.
Nein, wenn Sie es bitte nicht haben, nehmen Sie es bitte reinher, weil wenn da etwas umgeht und so, die Polizei ist auch da.
Das ist mir klar, ich mache es in der
Ja, ich muss einfach so sagen, ich weiss einfach nicht, wir dürfen mit der Vorliebe beschäftigen in der Regierung, machen das nicht, weil es gibt Probleme. Und wenn es dumm geht, die Leute denken, das können wir immer wieder neu. Ich habe es jetzt einfach gesehen und ich muss sagen, es ist nicht das, was wir dürfen. Außer dürfen wir nicht alles über den Ding sein. Das kann einfach nur Probleme geben. Es kann größere Probleme geben, dann einfach nicht. Ja, mit dem kann man sich stellen, es ist einfach nicht.
deshalb stehe ich immer dort hinten bei noch 7 Mädchen. Jetzt kenne ich ihn. Wenn wir dort hinten gewesen wären, hätten sie ihn gesehen. Bei einer auch schon vor bald 2 Jahren habe ich bei den Kindern auch und habe das auch untergestellt, dass sie auf der 28 gelandet sind. Kam auch einer, also wenn die umkippt oder so, dann haben die richtig in die Fläche. Aber das ist mir auch klar.
Deutschland mit einer Karte machen. Kannst hier so ein bisschen noch machen. Kannst du ein bisschen runter machen links.
So we quickly had to reposition the camera, but
Oh, Emirates,
we see the A380 taxiing, so I give this about 5 to 7 more minutes, depending on how much inbound traffic there is, and then we will show you the departure of the A380.
Ist ja aufgeladen ist, habe ich ja noch auf der Batterie 50%.
Das Gelände. Ich weiß nicht genau, ich kann das auch nicht ausschreiben. Ich dachte schon.
Egyptia. Joel. Egyptia.
Alright, quick outlook on to the next minutes. We have the Emirates A380, which will depart in a few minutes. Then we have Egypt there, Boeing 737, which is taxiing to the runway 2. And hopefully we will be able to show you the Edelweiss A350 departing as well. Could get a bit tight with the opening hours here, but keep fingers crossed that it works. And we have there an A340 of Swiss getting towed to the gate.
Wo ich mal da war vor 2 Wochen, da war so 5 vor 4, das ist also Emirates Takeoff in 10 minutes. Das war scheiße. Bin schon direkt zum Bus dann runtergelaufen. Hörst du was vom 350er, das ist ausgestellt. Was ist doch an? Delivery, achso. Egyptia ran mit 16. Ja.
Dann auch immer 16, 28.
Ja. Swiss A340. Schon 3 Stunden sind wir live. Knapp 3 Stunden. Sonst zittert alles. Ja, bin ich bewegt, das zittert, das kommt. Egypter startet jetzt. Egypter startet jetzt.
Wenn der weg ist, stelle ich mein Bein auf und das ein bisschen absorbiert.
Emirates hat auch gerade Clearance bekommen.
Ah, für 3,50 Euro.
Das Kondoat 20.
Schöne Kombo.
Alright, we have now Edelweiss power. First an A320 with the old livery and then the A350. Right in sequence. And we have seen the A380 departing, which was very nice as well.
bisschen höher. Das wird ein bisschen mehr fast. Ein bisschen höher.
Was ist?
Auf der Mann, der fährt ein Auto.
Ah.
Hä? So spät? Normal müsste das von vorne. Filmen wir mal das jetzt, oder sonst nicht? Keine Ahnung, was das Auto hier macht, aber der Runway ist gerade gesperrt. Deshalb warten wir auf den 350er Start.
Ist irgendwas auf dem Boden?
Ha?
Ist irgendwas auf dem Boden?
Hat er was aufgehoben, oder? Nee, jetzt dreht er, ja. Jetzt ist andere wieder frei. So. With the takeoff of the Edelweiss A350, we will stop our live stream for today. Thanks a lot for joining and watching. Hope you liked it. And see you next time. Vielen Dank für diejenigen, die teilgenommen haben. Wir beenden jetzt den Livestream für heute, nachdem der Edelweiss A350 gestartet ist. Hoffe, ihr hattet Spaß und bis zum nächsten Mal. Danke. Macht's gut. Tschüss.